Hey everyone, Nick Griot,
Sam Battersby,
and welcome to another edition of No Question Left Behind. This is a new series we're doing to get to all the unanswered questions that we left behind in our YouTube Live, which if you're watching this today was a couple days ago. But we're trying to get back to you while it's still topical. And also we're going to do some giveaways as a result of this as well.
Yes, another opportunity for some free stuff. You guys asked so many excellent questions. I don't think there's any possible way we could get to all of them during the live. So here's your opportunity to get more of those answers.
Yeah, and keep in mind, if you still have questions that come from an answer that we provide, drop them in the comment below and we'll get back to you as soon as possible. Somebody directly from Griot's Garage will answer that question. And of course, if you like the content that we're putting out, we'd really appreciate it if you subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Facebook and Instagram so you're first in the know of when we're doing more live events and can answer any other question on any other topic you like. We're not robots, we are actually Nick and Sam. I have emotions, so does he, I think so. We suppress them deeply like all other American men do, but we've got plenty of questions, so let's get going. We're gonna commit an hour, so the clock is ticking.
Let's go.
So first and foremost, we got a couple questions that were a little off topic. Our topic this past Wednesday was foaming. So we wanted to address those first, and then we'll dive into the foaming specific questions. We had a couple questions from Hung Wen and Keelan about they bought our ceramic all-in-one wax from one of our automotive retail partners, and it was separated. And they asked what we should do or what they should do about it. First thing to consider is if you see separation, especially on any polishing emulsions or an all-in-one product, shake it up. If it doesn't return to a contiguous state where it looks consistent throughout, you may have a problem with that particular product. Now, we're aware of at least one shipment that went out to our automotive retail partners that did go out in extremely cold temperatures from our distribution center in Indianapolis, a more extreme freeze thaw than we subject the products to. However, when shaken, that should return to a consistent kind of creamy color and be safe to use. If it does not, then give us a call. We'll replace that bottle.
Yeah, we've tested shaking it up, mixes back together nicely, performs perfectly fine. So you're good to go if that's the case.
Yeah, but if it isn't, give us a call. You know our warranty. We'll take care of you, send you a new bottle right away. The other question that we've asked or had asked about us is why did we ship to auto retail partners before selling it direct? Now, as you're aware of with this product, we had an enormous issue in development. We had a lab formula that we loved and approved and was on time to be launched at our December 1 gold date of launch. And as we went to order the bulk quantities of one of the ingredients, we found out that one, it was on back order in perpetuity. And then secondarily, about 3 weeks into that back order wait, that it wasn't approved for our particular use. So it's definitely a snafu on our generally reliable chemical distributor. So we had to restart development and match the performance that we had in our original lab formula. So a lot of time has passed since then, but we still are dealing with supply chain constraints. This is a very sophisticated polymer product that is coming from overseas. So we had enough of that product to fulfill our automotive retail partners' initial orders. And because our contracts with them are so important and so airtight, we ship to them. And unfortunately, that means that we had the inability to serve our direct and other wholesale customers. However, the light is at the end of the tunnel. We're about to get that product in Indianapolis. We have every other component waiting on it. And then we're going to go into mass scale production, fulfill all channels. So we really appreciate your patience. This isn't how we like to do things. It's been a crap situation for us, but we're stoked about the product.
Yeah, and we wanted to make it as widely available as possible right off the bat, which our retailers are one of the best ways to do that.
Yeah, and we apologize for any missteps in communication. Again, we've been managing this. This is a 5-alarm fire for us. This is not how we do things. So just getting that out on the table. Hope you appreciate our transparency and honesty, and please be patient with us. We do not like to fail you. But once you get the product in your hand, you'll know.
And it will be in stock and direct soon.
Yeah, it's the real deal. And that's the most important thing. We don't want to disappoint you by putting out something crappy for the sake of getting it in your hands. That's not our style at all.
Exactly. On to foaming?
On to foaming. We're going to go fast and furious. We're going to try and get as many as we can covered. And as we did say, in the live that we are going to be doing giveaways for some of the best participants. There are a few of you who are definitely going to be winners just based upon the amount of questions, the broad range of topics you covered. So keep in mind, you participate with us, we're going to reward you.
Absolutely. Let's see, number one, we've got some comments about the Brilliant Finish foam cannon. We had Alan Friedlander having some difficulty putting it together. I'm assuming you took it apart at some point. We've got an awesome video on how to rebuild that cannon, gives you full instructions on how to take it apart and put it back together. We have those videos for both foam cannons if you need any assistance in that process at all. Check out our YouTube.
And of course, you can reach out to us at our live actual human customer service or email us directly at social@Griot's Garage with some photos, and we'll help troubleshoot with you. We want you to make that thing work. It's a badass foam cannon. This is the first we've heard of somebody having difficulties, but you may be having difficulties, as Sam mentioned, in rebuilding it. So if that's the case, let us know, and we've got the video support as well.
Yep, and we didn't go over rebuild much yesterday, but we do have rebuild kits for both cannon versions as well, so if you do need those, they are available.
Yeah, and Chris McD is the next question, and he asks, do you need a pretty high volume air compressor for the air foamer Suds and gun? We weren't able to demonstrate that in the live because our power went out, killed our air compressor. So that was kind of a snafu in the live event. But you don't need like an industrial grade air compressor. However, even our 4-gallon dual canister one that we sell here is sufficient for that, but you are going to have to allow time for it to recharge if you're trying to do the whole car at once. Generally, that tool I like to use for more specific areas such as engine bays. So you're not going to need a ton of capacity to utilize the tool, but the bigger the air compressor, the better, because then you can do continuous foaming and actually use it to go around your whole car.
It's a high consumption tool, you know, just like a blowgun on an air compressor. It's consuming a lot of volume of air, so 4 CFM at 90 PSI is what's recommended. Ideally, you have a compressor with a large enough tank to sustain that for a long period of time. Smaller tanks, like Nick said, will run out. You may have to, take a break and let it build pressure back up. But typically, you're going to be stopping and going during the process anyways. So.
Yeah. All right, continuing on. Another question from Chris McD, who is very active. In fact, Chris McD, you are our first giveaway winner. So you're going to win our Brilliant Finish Foam Cannon Enthusiast Kit for your participation. Nice. You covered a lot of ground. Congratulations, Chris. Be sure to contact us at social@griotsgarage.com.
Awesome kit.
Chris's question is, what is the best foam or wash protocol ahead of a paint correction and wax? This is pretty basic. We outlined really the Boss foaming systems. We talked a little bit about foaming surface prep, even though we didn't demonstrate it. Now, foaming surface prep is an alkaline cleaner. It creates incredible foam, and that alkalinity will degrade surface protection, so it's not ideal for use on every maintenance wash. But if you're gonna wash your car in preparation for a paint correction or decontamination, that's a great tool. Just keep in mind it will diminish protection, so you don't use it every time. It's also great for another question we got about off-roading and heavy caked on dirt. Great for heavy cleaning as well. Just keep in mind that diminished protection element.
Foaming surface prep is the answer.
So foaming surface prep, high clean, 5 to 10 minutes, high pressure rinse, and then presuming your car is extremely dirty, you'd follow up with another foaming and agitation step, whether you choose the pH neutral foaming surface wash for that step, or simply reapply foaming surface prep. If you do foaming surface prep, you're definitely going to kill whatever's on the surface with that secondary physical contact.
2 applications will normally strip it down pretty good.
And then what we recommend is to dry the vehicle after it's entirely cleaned, apply iron and fallout remover for subsequent chemical decontamination. You can do that through the foam cannon, which was another question we got. It will dilute that very viscous fluid, but you can just simply draw it straight from the foam cannon. Keep in mind, by adding water to that ready-to-use formula, you're diluting it a little bit, so it'll be stronger if you spray it on.
Which is why you want to dry first. You could do it on a wet surface, but drying first gives you better strength.
Better action, and you're asking that chemical to break down ferrous particles, so that is the best practice. Now, again, whether it's trigger applied or by foam cannon, you can do either, but trigger applied is going to be a stronger effect. After you've done your chemical decontamination in the form of the wash and the iron and fallout, proceed to mechanical decontamination with a clay bar or a surface prep tool of your choosing, and then you should have a neutral decontaminated surface ready for paint correction.
That's the process. And for that mechanical decontamination, you can use diluted car wash soap or another application of foam for that if you choose. If you don't want to use speed shine or a standard clay lube there.
Keep in mind, use a pH neutral soap so it
Yep.
doesn't degrade the polymer material on your surface prep tools and or your clay.
Great comment. Let's see. Then we had, does Griot's recommend rinsing off foam products from bottom to top or top to bottom? We did cover this briefly yesterday. Talked about it a couple times. And these next few questions are all relating to process like this. We do recommend for the initial application of foam, rinsing from the bottom up. That's just going to give you maximum dwell time from top to bottom because you're not hitting it across the top surface and rinsing all that foam off with your initial hit of water.
Yeah, and on top of that, the next questions about process are related to foaming on a dry car versus a wet car.
Yep.
Now,
Doing
it is
pre-rinse.
our recommendation to foam on a dry car, and we covered why. You're asking the foam to break down and encapsulate any dirt on the surface. If you spray your car with a high pressure rinse, yes, you're going to get off those heavy particles that you're eventually going to get off if you follow our process.
Yeah.
But the water on the car is going to dilute the foam, reducing dwell time and reducing the effectiveness of that foam and chemical action.
And you're not going to get as much off in the rinse.
Yeah.
Because you don't have that foam breaking everything down for you.
So we do recommend foaming on a dry car, foam from the bottom up, overlapping, very meticulous passes, allow for proper dwell time in proper conditions, which are cool conditions, not in direct sunlight, so you can get max dwell, and then you'll see much better results rinsing after that dwell time than you would with a high pressure rinse and then foaming.
Yep.
And so, yes, it is different from the industry standard. As we mentioned yesterday, it's just a hard habit to break for most people because you always do a high pressure rinse before you do a traditional bucket wash method because you're just going straight to agitating mechanically. So
Take some practice to get used to that process.
yeah, and again, based upon the concentrates that we have and the consumption rates of our foam cannon, that doesn't mean that you're using a ton more product, right?
No, not at all.
I mean, we're talking 1.5 ounces of foaming surface wash per application, and you may not even go through an entire reservoir depending on the size of your car.
That's what I was going to say. In my experience, with both foam cannons, most of the time you can get two, average size vehicles out of one reservoir. So plenty to work with there. Let's see, we had another, I worry about getting the car clean enough with foaming to towel dry without scratching. Am I right to be concerned? What's the solution? So this is another good question from Chris McD. We did cover this a little bit yesterday, but this is where when you evaluate the paint after your first rinse and determine whether or not you need to do a contact wash. Obviously, if there's still dirt on the surface, you don't want to proceed straight to drying. That would potentially scratch the finish. So if you observe dirt or soiling left on the surface after your initial foam then rinse, you're going to want to proceed to a contact wash, either using a car wash soap diluted in a bucket and wash mitts, or refoaming the car and washing over that like we did in the live last night.
Yeah, it's really easy to establish on a lightly colored vehicle. Like if you look at a dirty white vehicle, it'll be brown or very dark.
Yep.
And after the foaming and then rinsing, you'll see a lighter brown tone. So you can see, okay, there's still some film there, but it's not as dark and heavy as it was initially. That's my trigger to wash. Now, this may not be perfectly recommendable, but it is a great way to test. If you've washed or foamed and rinsed your car, touch your finger to the surface of the car. If you observe some dirt or soiling on your fingertip, don't do it to the entire vehicle, but that's enough for me to understand, okay, there's still something left, I'm gonna do a contact wash.
Yeah, or take a light colored towel, do a small wipe on the rocker or something, same exact effect. You can pick up any soiling that's left behind.
Yeah, if you're
so
wearing black nitrile gloves, you're probably not gonna see that dirt.
Yeah, or if you have like ultra soft paint or something like that. Normally, a light finger swipe isn't gonna do any damage, but always err on the side of caution.
All right, CJ Byrne, 27, asked, what is the pH of the foaming surface wash? It is pH neutral, so I'm pretty sure that's a 7.
Yep.
All right. Dean Martin asked, is your pressure washer electric? Yes, we generally only sell and utilize electric pressure washers, I think that category is fantastic now.
Absolutely.
You don't have a lot of the nuisance or upkeep of a gasoline pressure washer.
Yep.
That being
Much
said,
easier.
there's still great ways to care for them to prolong their life, but you know,
Yeah, they're easier to use, quieter, more user-friendly to set up.
yeah, and you get the necessary PSI to do all car washing tasks
Yep.
out of a very low-level electric pressure washer.
Yeah, and with technology coming up, you know, on that side of the pressure washer industry, a good electric pressure washer is normally going to have similar, equal to output as a, you know, comparable gas unit. They're also usually a little less expensive than a gas unit. So.
Yeah. So Dexclo asks, what is the best chemical for the highest shine? As it relates to our foaming products in particular, Polygloss has an amazing finish.
Yeah, absolutely.
One of the key things, though, when you talk about shine is obviously going to be your paint condition, right?
Yep.
So if you
That's
got a
number
rat
one.
hammered paint job, there's no cure for that, man. You're going to put lipstick on that pig, but you
Yep.
probably have to do paint correction. And if you're talking about imparting a shine or finish, Polygloss is the key in our Boss foaming system.
Yeah.
One of the other things we do recommend, drying aid such as ceramic speed shine, or even another quick detailer you prefer. That'll help enhance the luster of the finish after your
Get
car
that
is
pop.
clean and it's still wet. So any topper like that or drying aid will probably enhance the shine. But
Yeah. Decontamination is another good step to add gloss. A lot of people kind of overlook, but contaminants can rob that glossy finish from your vehicle, just like scratches and oxidation can. So
yeah.
get to that.
All right. You want to go next?
Yeah, so we have, should I be using the Boss foaming products if I've been using ceramic 3-in-1? Would Polygloss have any benefit if I already have applied the ceramic 3-in-1? That's a great question and a common one that we get of like, okay, I've got this base down, what's best to top it with? I would say absolutely yes, you can use the Boss foaming products if you have ceramic 3-in-1 down. Foaming surface wash is a great way to maintain that protection and get good durability out of it. Polygloss will still help add life to ceramic 3-in-1, but the downside of using Polygloss over the top of ceramic 3-in-1 is Polygloss is slightly less hydrophobic than ceramic 3-in-1 is. So the surface is going to take on the characteristic of whatever product is on top typically. So you may notice some reduced water beading. You know, water's not going to explode off the paint quite as fast if you put Polygloss over ceramic 3-in-1. However, that's where wash and coat comes in.
Yeah.
If you have ceramic 3-in-1 down, your best topper for that in the wash process is going to be ceramic wash and coat.
In general, we suggest serve your base layer, right? So if you've got a ceramic base layer, wash and coat is the best solution to maintain those ceramic properties, replenish those characteristics that are first to diminish out of the ceramic 3-in-1 as it wears down over time. So ceramic wash and coat is definitely preferable, but serve your base coat. And that question did parlay into another person's questions about using Polygloss over Best of Show wax and Carnauba waxes.
Yep.
Yeah, that's going to be more durable than those products and will definitely extend their life and just, again, give you added protection. So if you're not concerned about what you're seeing, you just want to know your paint's protected, Polygloss all day long. But in general, serve your base coat.
Yeah, that transitions well into the next question. Chris Armour asked, can you use ceramic wash and coat in a foam cannon? Yes, you can. The dilution ratio is on the bottle, so you have the full instructions, whether you're using it in a bucket, a foaming sprayer, or a foam cannon. Nice and versatile there.
Yeah, and remember the specific instructions around ceramic wash and coat through a foam cannon. Do half the car at the time because of the reactivity of that particular formula. It's excellent. You don't want to allow that to dry, and you want to work in a manageable surface. So we generally find, you know, this is a kind of a last step.
Yep.
So you're probably doing some agitation if you're doing kind of a blended method of do your foaming pre-rinse and apply ceramic wash and coat for the protective elements alone, or apply ceramic wash and coat and agitate for your actual cleaning step. Just work half a car at a time.
Yeah.
That's the best way to have a great time, get great results from that product.
Yeah, just don't let it start drying is really it. But.
And Donald Adomano and Finn from Ohio, Finn, how's it going, bud? Asked, can you use the wheel cleaner in a Boss foam cannon? As we mentioned, you can use iron and fallout remover through a cannon. You can definitely use a wheel cleaner, but remember, those formulas are ready to use. They are not concentrates. So if you put them through a foam cannon and the foam cannon by its design pushes water through, you're going to dilute those ready-to-use formulas beyond their designed concentration use. So yes, it will diminish the effect, in particular, of a heavy-duty wheel cleaner and the purpling and iron breakdown that it is designed to do. But sure, go ahead, foam away. What I might suggest is a better use of those products, if you want the foaming capability, is to pour them directly into a pump-up foamer, or actually that air foamer sudsing gun, without diluting them at all, without introducing extra water, and use those as your foam application.
Exactly what I was gonna say.
All
Pump
right.
up foamer makes it nice and quick too. Not a lot
It's
of
like we
not a
know
lot of
what,
trigger pulls.
what each other's thinking.
May have answered some of these questions.
We share an
before.
office. We're very, very well connected.
Let's see, yeah, and that leads into the next question of, can you use a foam can with wheel cleaner? Does that reduce the effectiveness? So
Yeah.
you're pushing more water through it, it's diluting it. That's why you want to use it in the pump up foamer or the air foamer sudsing gun.
Okay. Frank Addison asked, do I need a pressure washer to use? Probably an incomplete question, but
Yeah.
to use a foam,
For the foam
cannon,
cannon.
yes, you do. And please do not confuse a foam cannon with a foaming sprayer. People buy foaming sprayers expecting foam cannon results.
Yep.
There's a reason they're priced differently. They require different equipment. The foaming sprayer, as we demonstrated yesterday, does not require a pressure washer, but it will create a wetter and more slippery foam, but much lower investment, and still getting the added safety of foam and ridding the surface of heavy contaminants. But foam cannon really is the bee's knees, so you're going to need a pressure washer. And then the next question is a 4,000 psi or 4 gallon per minute pressure washer too much? The answer is no. But just if you're using a really high output pressure washer, just manage how close you get to the car.
Yeah, make sure that you're not using a 15 degree or smaller degree tip. Use a 25 or even a 45 degree potentially.
Yeah, just there are some concerns with really old paint jobs of putting too much pressure on places like where paint is chipped.
Yeah, or trim, vinyl, emblems, stuff like that.
Yeah,
4,000 psi on a old emblem might peel it straight off.
Yeah, so is a 4 gallon per minute pressure washer necessary? No way. But yeah, just as we said, act with caution, use a broader tip.
Yeah, and if you have a really high GPM, make sure you're using the 1.25 millimeter jet as well.
That was my segue that I forgot, and you reminded me. So
Nice.
we're doing great here. But yeah, basically,
Improve your foam.
we have instructions on both of our foam cannons about how to insert the correct jet into your foam cannon pertaining to its PSI output. So remember, we explained it yesterday, how to swap the jet. It's a very simple process. But the Brilliant Finish foam cannon comes equipped with a 1.1 jet installed. The Boss foam cannon comes equipped with a 1.25. If you've got a low output pressure washer, keep that 1.1 in the Brilliant Finish foam cannon and swap the Boss immediately to a 1.1.
Yep.
If you've got a higher PSI pressure washer, probably both those tools will require the 1.25. And this is something you can change in order to get the foam output you're looking for. Again, it's super simple, and both of those foam cannons do include the alternate jet, so you can swap and tune it to get better foam.
This next question is one of my favorites, and I think something that a lot of people don't consider. Gordon Chan asked, what's the foam difference between a viscous soap like your Brilliant Finish car wash versus a less viscous soap like foaming surface wash? When it comes to foam production, does one produce a thicker foam? The short answer is yes and no, but the primary reason for that difference is due to the delivery system. Our Boss foaming system liquids were developed for use with the metering system on the Boss foam cannon. If they're really thick, viscous liquids, they will not get sucked up through the tiny orifice in those metering tips. So it prevents them from flowing easily through that metering tip and prevents them from producing foam essentially. So if you tried to use the metering tips in undiluted Brilliant Finish car wash, they're not going to work. You're not going to get any foam output because it's not thin enough to produce that suction. So the Boss foaming system liquids are all a lower viscosity, so that when you're using them with that metering system, they're allowed to flow through those metering tips and give you the proper dilution ratio without having to pre-mix anything.
Yeah, and so the concentrates in the Boss system are unique because with the auto metering system, you don't have to dilute.
Yep.
But to qualify your answer, if you dilute Brilliant Finish car wash to the proper dilution ratio, you're going to get great foam out of that. And that goes with any other manufacturer's product that is either snow foam or has the application for a foam cannon or a foaming sprayer.
Yeah.
The correct dilution ratio is going to guide it. If you goose the dilution ratio, you're going to get more soapiness, but there is diminishing returns of, again, too thick or too viscous of a product not getting pulled through your cannon effectively. So
another benefit of a lower viscosity, thinner product is when you're pouring it into a foam cannon reservoir or mixing it, it's just more user-friendly, easy to deal with. You don't have a sludgy mess that's getting all over the rim of the bottle and that sort of thing. Of course, you could use a funnel.
Yeah, and if you over pour, I mean, nobody's gonna.
Yeah.
The only one to be really careful with is ceramic wash and coat. Those dilution ratios are a hard, fast gospel. Don't mess with those.
Follow them, or you may get residue.
Yeah, you won't like that a lot. But it's super effective at its stated dilution ratio. So we've got Grandpa Gookie asking about recommendations for watermarks.
Water spots.
Yeah, so water spots generally are due to hard water, acid rain, drying on your vehicle. So your cleaning process will definitely help minimize watermarks that have not etched. But if you are seeing etched water spots, the first step to do is clean your vehicle and then attempt a decontamination step. So clay bar. Clay bar can pull some of those mineral deposits related to the hard water spots, which should minimize them. But if they have actually etched your paint surface, you're going to need to remedy them with paint correction processes. Ideally, watermarks aren't that hard to cure, so a mild hand polish might even get them, or a water spot remover if you have a ceramic coated car that where the ceramic coating is chemical resistant. Those would be effective tools. But water spots aren't that hard so long as you don't allow them to continue to build up over time. And if you're pulling like 20 years of water spots out, you got your work cut out for you for sure.
Yeah, and a lot of it's what you're exposing the vehicle to. John Lay asked, what are the secrets to prevent water spots on a black finish? Sprinklers are one of the #1 causes. So if you have sprinklers bordering your driveway, do not park a vehicle next to them ideally unless you have to. If you have to, get that water off quickly before it dries. And then having good protection down as well. A really good hydrophobic protection like Ceramic 3-in-1 is going to help prevent those water spots from drying and etching through or into your clear coat, leaving those unsightly spots behind.
Yeah, and then the hardness of your water, as we touched on yesterday. If you have super hard water that's drawn from a well, which again, a lot of irrigation systems have separate water draws.
Yeah.
I know at my house, the sprinkler water is a lot harder than like the hose and house water. So hard water will not only kill your foam, but leaving that on like a hot car or allowing it to dry before you get to dry it off. That's a surefire way to get those water spots. They're really frustrating.
Yeah, test your water. TDS meters or meter strips or TDS strips are very inexpensive, especially if you're struggling with water spots. A lot of people think they're caused by soaps, but they're almost always caused by the rinse water drying on the vehicle or an outside source like sprinklers or other hard water.
Yeah. This next question is one that makes me proud, and also I understand his frustration a little bit. But Greg Zeck asks, re-ceramic wash and coat. How would you expect the foam to cling to the car after previously using ceramic wash and coat? I know that it's low sudsing to begin with. So once again, ceramic wash and coat, it's definitely usable through our foaming products. It is not our highest foaming product by any means. And we've talked about this relentlessly, but the combination of the reactivity of the polymer and SiO2 package combined with the lubrication, it's a really tough balance to strike. But if you're washing your car and your foam isn't sticking to your car because of your protection, kudos, brother. You're taking good care of your car. And you may not need to foam. If that's your preferred method, great. But yeah, it's gonna fall off the car faster. And that's just a great indication of the care you're taking and the effectiveness of our product. So we'll take that as a compliment. Yeah,
and keep in mind too, ceramic wash and coat, if that's running off fast, it bonds very quickly. You don't need a lot of clean time with that one. So
or defer to a traditional bucket method, so you're just washing with contact washing and and you're gonna get an excellent result from that as well.
Yeah, and it's an excellent post-wash step, as Joel Parker pointed out. I don't think that was a question, but I know he likes ceramic wash and coat. That's all I've been using as my follow-up to a maintenance wash, or as the maintenance wash.
All right, so we're going to get to this categorically. This may be longer form, but we had Hector Campos, Zach, and Hector Campos again ask about proper storage and proper cleaning of your cannons. So let's address that.
Yeah, so this is one of the most common things we talk about relative to foam cannons. Just like any tool, it requires maintenance to continue working. You can't, just completely ignore it and expect it to work as good as it did when you pulled it out of the box. So the best way to keep them clean and frequency of cleaning, really every time you use it, you want to flush it out with water. So best practice, you've finished foaming the car, you're done using the foam cannon. If you have a separate reservoir, that's my favorite way to do it. We do sell the Boss reservoirs separately on our website with a cap, and the Brilliant Finish reservoirs will be available very soon, also with a cap. Have a separate reservoir, fill it up with clean water, hook that up to your cannon while you still have your pressure washer out, and flush at least 25% to 50% of that reservoir through the cannon, get it nice and fully rinsed out. If you don't have the means to do that, or you don't have the time or something like that, at the very least, pull the cannon off the pressure washer and run water through the coupler, through the barrel of the cannon. That's better than nothing. But ideally, you're flushing it with water after each use, and then do not store it in soap or mixed solution. That's going to cause potential corrosion and lead to clogs and things like that. So if you are storing it long term, make sure it's in an empty reservoir or not in a reservoir at all, hung up or set on a shelf.
Yeah, if you don't want to buy a spare reservoir, still take off the manifold and the cap, store it somewhere safe, and then you can put like saran wrap or something over your, if you really were desperate and didn't want to buy a spare reservoir. But it's pretty simple to do. It's just something that I know once you're done with the washing process, cleaning up, washing your microfibers, that's part of your process. Taking care of your expensive, high-quality Griot's Garage cannon is part of that. Now, over time, as those components degrade, the pill that's within it that kind of creates the agitation, that might get clogged up based upon just general use if you're using it a ton. We have those rebuild kits that we mentioned, which have pill replacements, O-ring replacements. So if you feel that your cannon has failed you prematurely, check how you're storing it, and then make sure you're cleaning it. But if it's anything else that's affecting it, obviously give us a call and we'll help you troubleshoot and or replace the cannon. So we've got a couple other people that I really want to highlight for their participation and call them out as giveaway winners. Rich Smith asked like 8 different excellent questions. We're going to answer some of his. But Rich, you did win a Brilliant Finish foam cannon enthusiast kit. So congratulations to you. And then Terry Curtis is another extremely awesome participant that asked a lot of questions, and you also have won a Brilliant Finish foam cannon enthusiast kit. So Rich and Terry, be sure to contact us at social@griotsgarage.com. If you're watching this video, to claim your prize, we will post your names in the comment section as well. So
we might want to give one away to this guy too, because it was his wife commenting, but she said, my husband has a 22 foamer, something like that. It's a competitive foamer with
I think
22 in it.
Yeah.
And he says, and he's always complaining that it tips over. Does your foamer do the same? They do not. They have the wide bottom reservoirs, prevent them from tipping over. And the Boss cannon even has the one-way valve that if it does tip, it won't leak. But tipping over is a very common problem with a lot of cannons out there, because a lot of the foam cannons reservoirs are very narrow. They get top heavy.
It's almost like they didn't think about it, and we had to do it for them.
Right.
That's what we're good at. So Jay Jimenez, it looks like it's either you or your wife that's on your account, watched our live. We're going to send you a new cannon. Which one do you want to send him?
Let's send him the Boss cannon.
Okay, yeah. Jay, you're going to get a Boss cannon from us.
That one won't tip, and if it does, it's not going to leak on you.
Yeah. It might be something you're doing too. Okay, Staying Rider 1 asked an awesome question that we both called out.
Yes.
And this is, we didn't address it yesterday. It wasn't necessarily on topic, but it is in terms of foaming. If we're purporting the utility of foam as it relates to helping to aid in using a chemical to clean before you do any hard work, Staying Rider asks, are there other liquids not made by Griots that are safe to run in the Boss foam cannon without ruining it? Crud Cutter, Dawn, dish liquid. The short answer is yes. First and foremost, you can use competitive foaming soaps if you prefer them to ours, which I don't know why you would, but those will work great through our cannons. Our cannons are excellent.
Yep.
But you can use those other types of products within our cannons. We're really confident in the construction, stainless steel with the Boss, anodized aluminum with the Brilliant Finish foam cannon, the stainless steel drop balls on the end of the silicone grade tubing. So unless you're putting brake cleaner in there, which I would not recommend,
Don't do that. It won't foam either.
There's a ton of household products you can use in foamers. Now, the thing to keep in mind is, much like we mentioned earlier, we don't know the dilution ratios of those particular products. So if they're high viscosity like Dawn dish soap, you're going to have to, do some kind of testing to find how much product you're putting in the reservoir relative to water.
And getting the right cleaning ability.
Yeah, so we don't know that. We don't have that off the top of our heads, but I know that in particular, we have used our foaming products for different household cleaning. I know that our product developer and good buddy Jeff out in Minnesota sprays polygloss on his garage doors and exterior windows as a way to prevent water spottings when sprinkler hits the windows, and also just keep the garage doors as clean and
keep them cleaner
water
longer
resilient as possible.
Keep them looking good.
So yeah, use your foam cannon for whatever you want. The one recommendation we definitely have is clean it afterwards so that you don't put any of those chemicals onto your car and its sensitive systems.
Yeah,
and obviously we don't know, we can't speak to how they degrade or act within the cannon.
Yeah, if you're using a strong all-purpose cleaner like Crud Cutter, which was quoted in that question, it could break down seals and things like that faster than the liquids that we have tested in it. So make sure you rinse it out.
Yeah, so we mentioned this briefly in that last response. Yogi Mel's asked, it's particular related to the Brilliant Finish foam cannon, and it's, I keep messing this up. It's the drop ball or the
pickup ball?
The pickup ball. Yeah. He goes, the stainless ball on my Brilliant Finish foam cannon rusted. Is this common? It is, unfortunately, yes. It was an error on our vendor and manufacturer's part with that particular product. We didn't catch it before it went to market because it appeared to be the same, but they found it on their end and resolved it.
Yeah.
So at this point, if you're buying a foam cannon from us, you should never run into that issue. If that has happened to you, give us a call. We were given replacement balls that are all stainless steel and will not rust. It shouldn't necessarily go up the cannon and mess it up, but I know that I've found it happened to my cannon as well.
Yeah.
Luckily, I'd stored it properly, but I looked at it and it was oxidized and had clogged the pickup ball, but it hadn't gotten up into the manifold at all. It was just based upon it being stored wet.
Yeah, you don't want to have to scrub off your pickup ball, so give us a call. We'll take care of you.
Yep. That's we apologize for that, but luckily we found that pretty quickly and have resolved it. Off the top of the head, do you know the pH level of foaming surface prep?
It's going to be 13.5 to 14. So,
okay.
Yeah, it's going to be 14 in full concentrate. Depending on how you dilute it, it'll reduce it down to between 13 and 14 typically.
Okay, and that is asked by Rich Smith, who is one of our winners for his excellent questions. We also addressed his questions about the orifice size in the foam cannons. We do not make our own pressure washer. What brand of pressure washer are you using? We generally prefer the AR line of products. They're excellent. AR has always made great pumps.
Yeah, both of the ones we sell are Italian-made pumps from AR. Great units, really user-friendly, good durability, good warranty. Of course, they're also backed by our lifetime guarantee as well.
Yeah, and generic Ron. I don't know how you got the screen name Ron on YouTube. There's a lot of users there. But do you recommend using only cold water for foaming?
I've never done like a hard test on hot versus cold, but we do use hot water to mix up the reservoirs back here every once in a while. I've never noticed it hurt foam by any means.
No, my only thought on using hot versus cold water is, given your conditions, if you're running your pressure washer with hot water and you've got hot water in your reservoir, the only thing is, what's the surface temperature of the paint? It does that added temperature of the water and maybe the conditions you're fighting accelerate dry time, which minimizes dwell, which rushes your process and diminishes the effectiveness of the foam. So that's something to keep in mind. I'm not going to go out on a limb and say I don't love washing with hot water because I do.
Especially this time.
But in like in cold conditions, it's great. But just keep in mind that just be aware of your surroundings and know that hotter water will dry faster if you're fighting temperature elsewhere, and that will minimize dwell time.
Yep. Yeah, and that leads into Kent London comments regarding foaming and excessive heat. As really with any wash process in excessive heat, ideally you want to do it in the cooler portions of the day, either early morning or late evening. If you don't have the option to do that, choosing the shaded side of the vehicle and then flipping the vehicle before you do the opposite side, so keeping both sides in the shade as you work on them is one way to work around that. But it's really important that you ensure that the surface temperature isn't extremely hot. Like Nick just said, hot surface temperature is going to lead to products drying on the finish and you having to rush to work through the process, losing effectiveness and potentially causing spotting and things like that. So if it's hot outside, make sure at least that the surface temperature is not, if it's too hot to hold your hand on that finish for a couple seconds, you're not going to want to wash that vehicle.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of dads get up and jump on their ride-along mower early in the morning.
We ride at dawn.
In the summertime, I'm washing my car in the early morning before the sun is at its peak, or in the evening. So those are great times.
It's a great way to get some meditation in for the rest of the family's awake.
I mean, you might want to talk to somebody other than us if you're having beers when you wash your car in the morning. So, having a nice evening beer as the sun's setting and it's cool out, that's a great time to wash your car. Generally, that's when my kids come out and join me as well. But
either one, the sunset wash or wake all your neighbors up firing up that pressure washer at 6:30 in the morning.
So we've got a couple quick hitters, and then we're gonna end on one question, and it'll be the perfect ending to this.
All right.
Okay, so quick hitters. Somebody asked, where are you? Thad Alexander, any events planned near Iowa? The closest we're gonna get to Iowa is probably our Indianapolis facility, and then the Columbus, Ohio Good Guys. That Iowa show that Good Guys does in Des Moines, it's awesome. But it's usually around 4th of July weekend, and we've got so much going on elsewhere in the country during the summer. That show is rarely lined up for our schedule. Somebody else asked, Frank Addison, will you be at Hot August Nights in Reno? Yes, we will be there. We'll be at the Peppermill Casino. It's an awesome time. Come see us. And then we did have a question from Joe Edgar, one of our longtime friends and followers. He goes, can you develop a rainbow or multicolored snow foam in the future? Come on, just add food coloring to it. And you really want us to go there, man?
Some people have gone there, but
yeah,
I don't know.
Some people have gone there with ready-to-use solution that's like twice as expensive as our 35-use concentrate in a 16-ounce bottle, for Christ's sake.
You can get rainbow foam down at the local Brown Bear, guys. Come on.
Yeah, and do whatever the hell you want with your food coloring, but no, that's not really our direction. We're focused on making effective products that we don't have to fool you into buying. So hopefully you know that about us. And Joe Edgar, we presume you're using sarcasm or poking us, but the bear can snarl a little bit.
He does that a lot.
Yeah. But hey guys, so this has been an hour. We got through a lot of questions.
Yeah, it was solid. I don't think we left any behind.
And we did give out 3 prizes to Rich Smith, Terry Curtis, and Chris McD. So congratulations to you. Be sure to reach out to us on social at griotsgarage.com. We will see you on May 11th for our next YouTube Live, and probably in some other stupid stuff that we do on our Instagram channel soon. So, thank you for watching. Have fun in your garage.
Have fun in your garage.